Awesome. Thank you all for joining. Good morning. We're here to talk Vibers versus Doomers. We're going to kind of debate, kind of go back and forth. We'll get into all those juicy details in a moment. Real quick, we're going to intro ourselves. We're going to also intro what is a Viber. It's a fun phrase. And what is a Doomer. We're going to debate. And the topics we're going to dive into are going to be around quality of our code, the art and craft of engineering, decision making with AI, security, and then what we're kind of seeing might be the future of engineering. And then we're going to open it up for you all to give us feedback. What did you think? What are we missing, etc. But first, huge thank you to our sponsors. These events take a lot of work, take a lot of support. I personally have hosted user groups here, and this one slide doesn't do it justice. So huge thank you to all of the sponsors. And if you work at a company, consider sponsoring the next one for sure. It's a great event. You get to meet the community, bring your presence out back. All right, my name is David Losey. I am an IT director at Boston Consulting Group. There are my contact info. I am a proud father of 4 great kids. There was a joke there that I forgot. I use this photo because it's a weird photo, and I like it because it's weird, but they superimpose this guy, but none of us are actually looking at it correctly, so it looks like we're just kind of staring off. And anyway, I also have 2 lovely dogs, a purebred mutt and a purebred Dalmatian. The mutt is my Dalmatian's anxiety dog. No lie. We got the Dalmatian during COVID, and she can't live without her boy. So these 2 are inseparable. I got into the idea of AI seeing R2-D2. He is the OG AI in my opinion, and so I'm a diehard Star Wars fan. I have a separate site, shameless plug. If you like Star Wars, check that out. I even build apps and games and all that stuff. I have a new comic book one in there as well, so I'm a bit of a Star Wars fan. I'll pass it over to Josh.
Hi. Hi everyone. I'm Josh Trump. I am a principal at Sloan Consulting. I've been there for almost 9 years now, actually. It's been wild. This is my family. They're actually in front here. We go to Disney World too, but we don't go nearly as often as you do. That's also my contact information over here. You can check me out here. I've been in computing. We were actually just talking about this. I've been in computing for almost 30 years. The realm of AI is an interesting one, but I feel like there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about today around the impact of how we approach coding in general, and I worry about how it's going to impact more things, and worry that we're going to lose the craft of things, and that's where we're going to get into a little bit of that.
No teasers. All right, cool. So what is a Viber? How many of you heard the term vibe coding? Probably most of us, right? It got coined earlier this year by some guy. I don't know who it is. But it's a spot-on term for what it is, right? We just kind of talk with the machine, we're chill, and the machine does all the coding, right? And I had my pinnacle vibe coding experience sitting on my back porch, drinking a bourbon, enjoying a cigar, talking to my Mac, and it was building an app for me. And I'm like, this is life, right? Like in New England, in the fall, beautiful weather, like couldn't have, my dog was sitting, it was, anyway. So I'm a bit of a Viber. I'm going to be playing the Viber role here. I will say, just a disclaimer, I don't necessarily believe everything I'm about to tell you. I am playing the extreme role for the sake of the argument. So please, you may see me cringe a little bit, cry, or I might put a disclaimer like, I'm just kidding. But it is, we're just trying to play that extreme there. And so if I'm the Viber, that makes Josh.
I will be the doomer. So I believe in the art of the code. That does not sound fun to me. I love figuring out the problems. I love diving deep into every single line of code and how to optimize it and how to make it better. I want minimal assistance from AI. I have a zero trust relationship with those chatbot tools and those agent tools, and will always make sure that every line of code is validated before I even pass it off to somebody else to look at it, because I don't trust it. But at the same time, there are some value, I will have to temper my opinion about things. To that point, I'm also playing an extreme role of this. I won't necessarily believe everything I'm saying, but I do tend to lean on this side of the screen rather than.
And I'm over here. Yeah.
So, I think that's it.
Yeah, awesome. So quick show of hands. How many of you lean towards the vibe side of the camp? How many of you are vibers, want to be vibers? That's the goal.
Most of them are.
Wow. Doomers? Doomers? How many of you don't even know what an agent is? No, I'm just kidding. All right, awesome. It feels like more vibers than doomers, but half the room didn't put their hand up. So, all right, awesome. This is going to be fun.
You can sway people in this selection.
Yeah. All right, cool. I was actually going to put up one of those Street Fighter fight scenes, but this fit the theme a little bit better.
Sorry.
If it's mom, you should take that, like, definitely. All right,
It's an
no worries.
animated
All right, cool. So we have a few slides with simple questions on it, and we're going to each have 2 minutes to kind of say our piece about it. What we would love from you all is to keep track of what we're talking about. Who do you agree with? Who do you not agree with? We're going to ask towards the end, where do you land, right? Are you leaning more Viber? Are you leaning more Doomer? Is there anything we missed, right? We certainly am not covering everything in the world here, but if there are any key points, any factors that we may have missed, it would be great to hear as well. All right, I get to take the first question. How does AI impact the quality of your code? Who cares? It doesn't matter, it works, right? Right? Yes, thank you. Yeah, he agrees. AI is all about speed, right? My business counterparts can come to me and I can bust out an app in a day now. Full app. 10 screens, backends, databases. I can vibe code at phenomenal speed that was never possible before, right? That 10x engineer thing, I'm like a 100x engineer now because I can run multiple agents. Part of the problem with AI is I already have side projects. Now I have an exponential amount of side projects because I can keep spinning them up real fast. A couple weekends ago, I wanted to add a subscribe button to a website I'm working on. And I said, add a subscribe button. And it went ahead, add the button, add the database, add the admin page, add the email screen in roughly 3 minutes, right? Now, if you're an engineer, you're like, oh, that's a lot of work, right? It is, but not for me, right? So it's about speed, right? At BCG, our teams are using vibe coding, agentic engineering to bust out POCs at record time, right? And quality does feel low every once in a while. Like you click a button and there's like a delay. You feel that like 400 millisecond. You just tell the machine it's too slow. Fix it. It fixes it, right? So I'm a huge proponent of vibe coding, and I don't care about the quality of it. And I forgot to put the timer up. All right. Well, you're going to be timed. How's that?
I'm going to be timed. All right, that's great.
There you go.
But you talk about POCs, but like that's just POCs. Like that can't be production code. You have to be reviewing all that code. That 400 milliseconds could be going anywhere, and you have no idea where it's actually going.
It's true.
And the quality of the code makes sense. And how much time is it really saving you if you have to generate a bunch of code, and then you have to review all of that code, and then you have to...
I don't review the code.
You know,
I don't review the code.
That hurts even more. Where you have to... You're probably spending just as much time writing and reviewing and debugging and telling the agent to write and review and debug through those cycles, then instead of just understanding the code to begin with. And if you do that, then wouldn't the code be better because you actually understand and you can learn from the process as well. With all of that, you also then get to have a finer grained control over what is actually happening. Yes, the AI can generate an admin page for you, but it doesn't even look right, and how much time is it going to take for you to tell the agent to correct its mistakes versus just moving the button down 7 pixels as you want to. There's so many ways that like it can go wrong because it can lose its train of thought. It can go sideways when it's trying to build things. This is what my experience has been, where you're always trying to fight with it, being like, no, change this line of code right here to something better. And that's just my struggle with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Any comments or questions? Anybody want? Yeah.
So basically, what I was trying, and I read somewhere, so have a reviewer like CodeRabbit, and this one, it will write the code, it will review the code, you copy paste the review, it will correct it.
There is a whole flow in GitHub Copilot now where you can have an agent like open even just like open an issue, and then the agent will go off and write the code, and then it will open the PR for you, and then you can have another agent review the PR and completely automate it.
Amazing, isn't it? It's wonderful.
Abstracted away.
It's wonderful.
I think there has to be a fine balance between speed and quality.
Yes.
Because actually for the line of business that we have, you're talking about people's lives at stake. So quality sometimes trumps
Yes.
speed. But for the sake of like, okay, I just want to be innovate very fast, right? And then speed, actually, that's where the speed comes into play. But again, before I go to production, everything has to be about quality.
Yeah. Yep.
This is where
Yeah.
both of our philosophies kind of differ. Where he wants to write as many lines of code as possible, and I would much rather spend 4 hours writing 3 lines of code. But those 3 lines of code are in his world indecipherable, but like they're very performant and very fast.
It's a whole other talk right there.
So is this just your personas for this debate?
Yes.
Or is this in real life?
Some of this was real life. Like my subscribe button is a real life story. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't necessarily prescribe to pure speed. I'm not Lightning McQueen.
One more thing.
No
to add
references.
for-
Nobody gets. Wait. Sorry.
For the speed, so he was talking about the button. So I was using cursor, I said put the button over here. It was not able to put it.
Yeah.
I was giving commands, this, and it started drawing the lines, tell me where the green line is, red line is. I spent 1 hour with it. I could have fixed it quicker than that. After that, I said I quit. I said it was very
I have to stay in my persona. I gotta. Whew. Well, it's not the AI's fault. You were wrong.
Yeah.
So I am a student, and I started coding when AI kind of
Right.
started off. So it's weird because now it's like, as bad as it is to say, it's like a part of me can't really code anymore without AI because
Yeah.
Yes.
I've learned how to code with AI. So I don't know if that's a good thing, bad thing. I am trying to learn without it. And then
there's the next question. Thank you for queuing that up so well. So well. And Josh is going to kick us off with this one.
I am going to kick this off. Does AI enable developers to get lazy? It does, but it's bad. You don't learn anything from that. You are reliant on all the logic, all the setup, all the boilerplate code that is important and scaffolding a lot of that code bases. But you now don't have to understand it. You learn that it's okay. That part I don't have to care about. But I care about those things because those boilerplate things are important. It's important to how to set up all of those elements as well. There's being lazy means that you don't understand the logic. You don't understand the big O of a particular algorithm because the AI wrote the whole algorithm, but you don't know why it's taking 400 milliseconds for that button. Right?
It doesn't matter.
And you're not diving deep into the code. You're not diving into like, wow, it made 7 for loops on top of itself, and so why did it do that? And this is what comes back to like it loses its train of thought. It just starts writing code because it doesn't understand the context. It doesn't understand everything that it is building against. It just started at the top and it just started writing code again. You can eventually get to a point where it is good, but you have to know the code in order for it to be successful. And that's where, like, into your point, where the understanding why the code works the way that it does, even down to every single line and every single like type coercion or typecasting or like for loop line, like what each one of those pieces of context syntax are doing means that you get to fine tune the code and understand it better.
Cool. I'm going to kick mine off with the same. Who cares? No, but seriously, I code a lot less now, without a doubt. I rely on AI 24/7, side projects and my real job. But I'm still an engineer, right? I still review the code. I still review the code, right? My 30 years of engineering experience is even more important now because I know what's wrong, I know what's right when I do review the code. So it's not that we're getting lazy, it's just getting different, right? And the example you had given about moving a button over, right? My side project just tried to give it a little, use CSS and style this for me, and it couldn't do it. But as you know, AI is confidently, yes, it looks great, right? And I'm like, no, I had to go find the CSS myself, test it out real quick, then give it, here's the code to use, you stupid machine, right? And then it was able to actually do it, and it was very proud of itself. So I also find, right, I'm managing like 5, 6 different agents at once. There's nothing lazy about that. There's nothing lazy about app 1, app 2, and my context switching and understanding what are you working on, and like it's like herding cats, but they're electronic and they do whatever you tell them to do, right? Yeah.
When you're generating code, or like you said, vibe coding, how do you ensure that it's maintainable?
So that would be a great question too, right? Who cares? The machine is going to maintain it for me, right? Again, I'm playing the role of Viber. I am sorry, but yeah, the idea is AI generated. AI is responsible to fix it, keep it up to date, and I've experimented with ways of having AI like monitor data, dog for errors, and fix itself and submit a PR, right?
But I mean, you have, sorry your hand, but you got, even though that's your persona here, you have a very true statement in that, because with this, I'm with you. I've never felt so smart and so stupid at the same time. But, you know, now my mom can code in AI, or, you know, in Apple app if she wants to.
Right.
And in the future, that's what people are going to be doing to solve their problems, is building a program to do X. They're not going to know what the code is. And AI, I mean, I don't care how good, I've been doing this for 30 plus years, and LLM's better coding it than me. It knows everything.
Yeah.
So at one point, we're going to have to, at least on the Viber here, obviously, trust that to kind of understand how, you know, business is going to move forward. And this is also a developer, you know, point. If you're talking to a business person, you know, who pays the bills, like I went from probably about $5,000 a month paying my offshore team to zero. They take it all on. And I'm the QA, the SQL, the marketing, everything. It's just, I mean, I've had 3 huge pivots in my life. My kids being born, married, and AI. It's really it's tectonic, really.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
So you have 30 years of engineering experience?
Yes.
Okay, so most of this is pre-AI.
Yes.
You've got kids coming up now who
Yeah.
are going to learn with AI. What's going to be the depth of their engineering experience when they have to do these reviews?
That is a fantastic question, which we have a little later. But yes, yeah. I have written a couple blog articles about that same, exploring why, how, what. Yeah, a little terrifying. Yes.
So, preface it, I know that you're playing the role of the extreme Viber.
Thank you.
So what about something that's very mathy, like for very niche people who are absolutely brilliant? I'm not in that category. Let's say they are training a new AI model, they develop their own loss function. If you need to take the gradient of it, then I don't know if I can fully trust it. I took a statistics course and I tried seeing if I could input some problems. 3 different models, including like a few different variations of ChatGPT, gave me different answers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
would you even the extreme Viber? Would you like trust like some extreme math?
Yeah, even on the extreme camp, I still know there is a limitation to AI, right? And I think deep analytics, deep mathy stuff. The reasoning models are a little bit better, like GPT-5, 5.1 is a little bit better because it can reason over that. But I would go traditional AI on deep analysis requirements.
And kind of to that point, and like maybe to your point before, like it can write code, but you have to be the human in the loop here to actually understand like what it actually generated was valid or correct. And so there's to maybe even to the student where you need to understand what the code is supposed to be doing so that you can validate what it's writing out. So your baseline knowledge of it, it can throw an algorithm at you, but you have no idea if it's actually right, if it's actually going to build something.
Now, you mentioned not knowing what it spews out, but what if you ask, let's say it shoots it out, and you ask the AI or the AI model for an explanation of said thing, so that you do know what it does in detail, alongside with being able to do it quite efficiently. And to your point, how would you do that in a more professional way?
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, I've had it write out those like lines. I do a lot of SVG transformations, and there's a lot of fun and cool things that you can do with it. And I'm like, explain each one of these things that it's doing, and it does, but it doesn't work. So, but it will tell me all the words that it wants me to
So
hear.
confidently too.
So, how do I even trust what it's describing is actually accurate? And that's where that's where I lose that trust.
Yeah.
Where if it actually worked, I would have maybe be more impressed with it. But I've had very little success.
It's very similar, right? I have the AI write all my code, and I will ask it, why did you write it that way? Like, what was your intention? And then it explains it to me. I'm like, okay, cool, next agent, move on, right? I personally gain experience from hands-on, right? I need to slam my head on my keyboard. Like I need to be up till 1 a.m. trying to fix a bug. Like that's where all my experience came from. I get none of that anymore. I am getting experience on how to talk to the machine. How do I write requirements for it, right? How do I explain to the LLM, because I understand it's stupid in some areas, how do I make sure I cover those shortcomings of the machine, right? So my engineering skills have kind of pivoted to being, sadly, on the business side. Sorry if there's any business people here. But like I'm thinking more from a business point of view of how do I tell a developer what to code as opposed to telling it to code, or vice versa.
Interesting side notes that what AI is doing is it's actually forcing engineers to tell stories better.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually kind of a good way to think about it, where
I like that.
you have to be able to explain your ideas. As engineers, this is one of the biggest problems is that we have, my dad especially, where we do a bad job of explaining our thought process or explaining why something works the way it does.
Yeah.
But in order for the AI to be successful, you have to go down that path. You have to explain every step of the way, and you have to explain that end to end in a way that somebody non-technical or somebody non-understanding would be able to get to it. And training us in a way to say, okay, we're shifting the thing from the hard code to tell that story. It may be good.
Cool.
So it's not so much like to make us lazy, because now people are actually shifting to be busier writing prompts. But I think it's really AI actually makes us to be more complacent in such a way that actually, okay, I know AI can do this, right? And again, if I put quality aside, it can do not exactly, kind of what I want it to do.
Yep.
But again, to a point that you will actually stop thinking in terms of how do you write code.
Yep.
And I think that's the most kind of dangerous part that people don't realize.
Yeah.
The other day, basically I had this nirvana experience, like, what am I doing with this AI tool? Because actually, I don't even check for code anymore, right? So basically, I have to go back, okay, I want to actually start taking some challenges, like, okay, how do you write a Python, list expression, and then I want to make myself think again, so I can actually be more proficient when actually I'm reviewing the code actually sped out by the AI tool.
Can I give an example? So like a couple of my friends, they were after me to make a website for them, sports website, and I was always lazy. I was saying, okay, I won't build it. Yeah, I don't have time and all. AI came, I said, okay, I'm a very good fan, so I'll do it. Within 1 hour, I just said, okay, build a site, use Azure Communication Service to send the email, and 1 hour, I put it in Azure.
Right.
Then again, we were like good
Thank you.
friends.
Yeah, thank you. All right, good. Should we trust AI with decisions that used to require human judgment? I think, I get to go first on this one. Yes. AI has seen more patterns than this room has seen combined. Think about it. And some of us have seen a lot of patterns. Some of us are on the elder side, right? We've seen a lot. We've experienced a lot. AI has seen an incredibly more amount of that. Why not trust it, right? AI has all the experience for anybody who wrote stuff on the internet and was able to read. But most of us, like a lot of people, share everything, right? Stack Overflow, Reddit, personal blogs, articles. It has been trained on everything, so why not trust that? Why fight it? We trust compilers, we trust optimizers and linters and frameworks. This is just another layer in that pool, right? Just trust it, it's gonna be okay. And the more we can trust AI with that stuff, like a pattern in a service, fast API versus Flask, who cares? Just make it work. I get to work on the cool stuff. I get to work on the larger architecture. I get to work on working with my business partner on how we're really going to make this a really cool product, right? I get to be creative. I get to think strategically, and I'm not in the code. Code doesn't matter. It's just getting that answer and let the machine make all those calls. And I'm going to cry now in the corner.
You just gave me so much to work with.
I know.
I would argue all of those points and say the AI has learned from all of the patterns. It has a lot of knowledge, but it doesn't have a lot of wisdom, where it will recite facts back to you, but it doesn't understand good architecture. It doesn't understand the context of where the code is sitting, and it doesn't understand where and why code is supposed to be doing what it's doing. I'm going to bring up this example, and I'm going to throw one of my friends under the bus. But he was writing an application where he wanted to scrape his email, his chat, his contacts, all of his personal stuff into a thing so he could like organize his life, his calendar and appointments, and like just to organize his life. And he was banging his head trying to get the AI agent to parse the mail app's cache to read his email from him. And he was going back and forth, and he was so frustrated with the AI agent not being able to do this. And I was like, look, why don't you just write an email client to just pull the email out instead of having to like go into this opaque cache that you don't have documentation for. And it turns out like a day later, he was like, I spent like 4 days trying to do that. I got it done in 2 hours. Like, once you actually give it a good architecture and a good design philosophy. So it understands exactly what you tell it to do, but it doesn't tell you that it's a bad idea to go and like decipher a cache platform when you can just tell it, if given it open-ended instructions, it's going to do the dumbest thing possible. It's not going to think about a good architecture. So it has good intentions as long as you can explain it, but that requires human judgment. That requires it to have that bigger fourth level like architecture idea to say, build it this way, don't build it this way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I'm missing something with this particular prompt, which is, and again, bear with me, like, I'm not gonna say this well, but like, we didn't have a choice but to trust human judgment before, now we do, maybe. And so I guess what I'm wondering is, like, what is underpinning the trust in human judgment versus what is underpinning the trust in LLM judgment? Like, can we move it back a step?
No, that's a good question.
What is underpinning the AI judgment?
While he's thinking, sorry, go ahead.
Go for it.
Like I was trying to write a unit test for an implementation that exists using AI, and the AI was trying to modify the unit test, the implementation, so the unit test can pass when it's failed. So the implementation is already in production. It's generating. It's the thing that paid the bill. So if it's AI make the decision to modify the implementation without human supervision, who will be like who will you hold accountable for this? Like,
No,
That's
that's
why you always need to have a human in the loop. Like you need to be able to review. You can't trust that it's going to open and review a PR, especially if you give it the keys to be able to modify anything.
Right.
So having to be like maybe this question like trusting the AI to make decisions. Like I don't trust it to make decisions. I don't trust it because it doesn't have that wisdom to say, don't touch the production code, only fix the unit tests. And we need to be involved in the conversation. It's training a junior developer in building things, but without the added benefit that the junior developer will actually learn something. Like,
learn
take
from
that
you.
pattern.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good I'm so sorry. I think that's a good example, right? So like, I remember when I was a junior developer, I was terrified of production.
Yep. Oh, I'm still terrified of
And
production.
I retained a version of that like terror about the code that other people are experiencing, not just that they can see. And I take your point that like, to whatever extent LLMs have that already, it's brittle. It feels brittle right now. It doesn't feel like it's going to override me as the user. And I'm just trying to figure out like, where does good judgment come from, and can good judgment get to LLMs? Or do you think no, it can't? It architecturally can't.
I would say on the Viber, I'm going to wear the Viber hat on this one a little bit more. If you were to equate it to self-driving cars, AI is driving your car, all that stuff, right? How many humans get into car accidents a year? Right, big number. When AI gets into a car accident, what happens? Everything blows up, right? This isn't safe, this isn't the, but we, God help us, no one here gets into a car accident on the way home today, but like I could correlate the same with AI, right? We're scared of AI because we don't know exactly what it's doing, but it's been trained on us. It's been trained on humans. And I've been an engineer for a very long time. I've been an engineer lead for a very long time. we humans mess up a lot, right? And I'll touch upon that in a second. So I don't want to give.
That's actually going to prompt the next question.
Yeah, that actually will kind of lead into our next topic. But like for me, it's let's use the AI, let's find out its capabilities, let's push it to its max, and tell OpenAI and Claude and all of them to keep making it better, keep training, right? Like make this thing better so we don't have to do our jobs as hard. It's all about being lazy and retiring, guys. Come on.
Yeah, go for it.
So I think you kind of answered perhaps your question about what makes human judgment, what underpins
Right.
trust in human judgment, right? You said that we have wisdom,
Yes.
whereas the AI only has the data and the information. So I think
Yeah.
that maybe partly answers the question.
Yeah.
But I think in this, for your prompt, really the issue is if it's a decision that can be easily reversed, I wouldn't mind trusting AI.
Yeah.
But it's when those decisions are critical, and this is when
Fair.
we're talking about not generating new code, but decisions, should I put the patient on the respirator, whatever, or not? That's a place where you don't want to use this.
Right.
No.
I will reiterate that like it has a lot of knowledge, but it doesn't have a lot of wisdom, and that means like and it also doesn't understand. It's just regurgitating. It's spitting back to you things that it has seen before. It, as our friend says, it is spicy autocomplete, where it is laying down the next word, the next line of code based on what it previously wrote, and it's just going to keep going down that path until it gets to some sort of answer or an end. But it never understood or even like has any kind of context over what it actually generated. Maybe you could feed that back into itself to do it again, but it's not going to take that and actually have any genuine understanding of it.
Yeah.
And that's where like taking patterns and repeating them, that's great, but taking an important life or death decision, taking a decision that takes some sort of ingenuity or creativity or fourth dimensional thinking, that's where I don't know, it can't do that yet.
Yeah.
For what
All right.
it's worth, I think that's the answer to my question is, with humans, we at least have some hope of establishing a common understanding, but I personally lack confidence that there's any understanding in an LLM.
Yeah.
I think architecturally it's not there, it's not for understanding.
It does a great job at faking humanity, and it is very convincing. It will talk to us like it is human, and we give it these anthropomorphic words like understanding and thinking. It is not. It is just math. It is hundreds of thousand dimension vectors that are just giving you the next word, and it is just a prediction. It is all of those other things, but it is not a human, and we need to be.
Yeah.
I'm with you, we do still want that, but it's also new and we're not used to it.
Yes.
So I don't know everything about my car, but I trust it to get me from point A to point B. But
Mhm.
if I turn it right and it goes left, you know,
Yep.
I mean, I've learned to trust my vehicle.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
one point, we will definitely be trusting the AI. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. Not
100%.
now, but I think it'll
I think so.
get there.
So let's move
Awesome.
on.
Is AI generated code secure? You go first. This is yours.
No. We have no idea what it's doing.
Mm.
And when it is generating the code, we can never, like, if we don't look at the code, we have no idea if it's doing SQL injections, if it's
Mm.
generating heartbeat blunts, if it's doing any kind of like random pointer arithmetic. It is, you can't trust it. I have a zero trust relationship with the AI code, so it needs to be secure.
Yeah.
It needs to have a human in the loop to actually validate that what it is doing is actually generating like secure code. And there's so many times where it is, you have to explicitly say, pretend you're a security expert and then like analyze this code for security problems and like find big problems with the code. But in the absence of that, like you can't trust it. Like,
Yeah.
it is just going to repeat patterns. And
Yeah. All right. All right. Good for you. I will say as a Viber, yeah.
Yeah, question. Okay, you're generating AI code. Okay, now you're using an AI engine from, okay, excuse me. You're generating proprietary code. You're using an agent, whatever agent it is, out there. Once you've generated your code, is it copying it up to the company that runs that AI agent for future use by somebody else?
Depends
And
on
how do you prevent that?
It depends on the platform. I mean, you could probably speak more to how
Yeah,
this is set up.
yeah. The
but-
big boys, Copilot, Cursor, they have opt-in, opt-out models. I think they might default to opt-out for enterprises, and then you would have to opt in. But keep in mind your personal accounts, y'all. Those are on by default everywhere. So if you're concerned about that, and I would be concerned about that, like make sure you're reviewing your settings every so often, and turn that off. And it won't take your data and then train itself. It'll keep it private for you.
But that's a great point, though, that like,
Yeah, I can't wait for the first leak.
Is there a way to currently lock
Yeah.
that security in? In other words, I think I've seen buttons pop up like that, but you know, sometimes you forget, sometimes your
Yeah.
mouse stutters.
Yeah.
Your clicking stutters, and you know, you're hitting stuff you don't know you're hitting.
Yeah.
So is there a way in some text file stored somewhere, some settings
Yeah.
to store, say, don't copy my stuff?
Yeah, there is definitely at the provider level, like Cursor and Copilot, Enterprise button don't store, and it works for everyone under that account. I believe in your individual IDEs, you can configure that as well. So like for side projects, if you wanted one to share because you don't care, but you're working on a personal proprietary thing, I think you can turn it off per repo within your IDE. Yeah.
But that also like raises a good point about if you're not careful about how the code is being generated, the code that it is building, if you're trying to even build secure code, that will get fed back into things. So that has it's a fantastic opportunity for keys being uploaded back into the system. And if you're not careful about that and making sure that you're having a clear separation of this is proprietary code and this is code that is okay being seen by public eyes, like if you're not careful about that, that is a fantastic way for data breaches or other patterns to happen.
You mentioned an IDE. What IDE do you use to generate?
I usually use Cursor. I'm a big fan of Cursor right now.
What?
Cursor AI. It's an IDE built on VS Code, but it's Cursor's models, Cursor's functionality on top of it. It's phenomenal. I love it. Yeah.
Is anything built into Microsoft Visual Studio?
VS Code, yeah.
VS Code has
VS Code has Copilot.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Copilot, yeah. Yeah.
Visual Studio also has Copilot.
Yes.
VS Code and
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Visual Studio.
Visual Studio.
I think all of them, IntelliJ, I think everybody's got
IntelliJ has
Copilots.
things. Android Studio has Gemini baked into it.
Yeah.
Apple has, I don't know.
Who knows? Siri or some garbage that doesn't work.
What
Drives me nuts how bad it is.
were you saying?
So based on your experience, what do you think? Like, because the code that Cursor generates, it's mind blowing, right? I haven't seen the things you were saying, like SQL injection, this
Yeah.
and that. Based on the experience,
Yeah, so
Go for it.
great, yeah, cool. So is the code secure? I will say as a purist Viber, security is not an option, period. It has to be secure. We can't accidentally leak data. Full stop. So if you don't trust your code enough to not leak data, then we're doing something wrong. To date, however, how many security breaches were caused by AI? How many by humans? All of them, right? So back to my car analogy, right? The first one that is AI security leak is company's gonna shut down AI. I can feel it. Companies will just say, we're not using it anymore, they just leak data over there. Meanwhile, employees do it all the time, right? So I think AI code is more secure. To his point, you can tell it to be more secure, right? My repos, I have agent instructions, and one of them is security and how we handle security within our company, right? What certain processes and libraries it's supposed to be using. So it listens better than a human does, right? And I have 4 kids. Like it listens a lot better than humans do. If you use tools, like I use Lovable for my side projects, right? That's a pure vibe coding experience. It's fantastic. And it scans for me. It pops up and says, I found 2 security alerts. And then I look and I agree with it, or one of them like, don't worry about it. Like it's whatever, it's fine, right? So the tools are making our code more secure, right? We have tools like SonarQube, Veracode, and other things. They're all using AI for it now too, right? They're doing deep dive security scans across all of our code with AI. So I am of the belief, this isn't even extreme Viber, like my real day-to-day, yes, I think AI code is a lot more secure because we can ensure it is. We can wrap it with all the right instructions.
Just because you run into SonarQube, like SonarQube itself is just
It's a tool.
It's just a tool.
One of many.
It is a static analysis
One of
tool.
many.
It
And SonarQube lets human problems through too.
It does.
So just
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Just saying.
You
Just
can't always trust
AI is a friendly.
And
All
also,
right.
I think the security, it has to be layered, and also it has to have some mitigation.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like you tell, okay, Mr. Clark, just generate the code and then take however many iterations it takes to write the code. And then once you, to a point that you're satisfied with the code, like, okay, now Mr. Clark, can you actually make sure it's safe?
Hmm.
And that way it's actually spread out. Maybe it's going to change a lot of the code that it actually emits. And then to a point that now you feel more comfortable with the code as far as security and quality, and you can do visual inspection that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was going to say that AI usually draws from existing code, so how do you counter security when someone may bypass existing code and then it's giving it to them?
Yeah, AI is trained off of existing code for sure, but it doesn't look at a block of code and say this is good enough. It's still handling it token by token, right? So it's trained on hundreds and thousands of pieces of code, and it's piecing together the best code for what you've asked it to do. But it's a good point, right? How many of us has copied bad code from Stack Overflow? Put your hands up, you all did it! I know you did, liars!
I've never done it without actually understanding everything.
Okay, maybe some of you are like him, but like we all copy and paste it, and AI might actually be better because it understands a wee bit more, right? Because it has all that experience, all that training, and knows this isn't good code, but I'll take this one piece or whatever. Yeah, AI is just another human. Let's be kind. Let's be nice, right? All right. So what did we miss? We've had a great conversation so far. Any other final comments, questions? Yes.
Cost. Yeah.
Cost?
I can write code for free with nothing but a Vim.
Right. I can pay $5 and let it build an app while I'm out enjoying myself.
But isn't that enjoying yourself?
Yeah.
Isn't writing the code?
It is. I actually do miss putting this together. I'm like, I miss engineering. I miss my hands on the code. And I thought about coding something myself. I'm like, I have no time for that.
Every time he talks about how he's vibe coded something, I think like all of the energy costs and all of the electricity costs. And all
No. We don't talk about that.
The
We don't talk about Bruno.
dollar amount of like
Bruno?
engineering that just went into just doing something that you could have just like written yourself in 10 minutes
Yep.
for free for $0.
All right.
Yeah.
So back to my original question, if you have an answer,
Yes.
what about the engineers who are coming up learning AI now who might have like
I'm not leaving you hanging. This will be part of that. When anyone can code, what's left for engineers to do? And under that, I will put in the young engineers, junior engineers, early career engineers. How are they going to become the senior engineers? We're going to switch sides for this one.
I am, yes.
He's going to be the Viber, I'm going to be the Doomer, and we're going to do our best to stay in character. So you're first.
I'm first. Okay. So when
He's sweating, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that.
I think that these are fantastic tools to be able to learn from. I think it has completely democratized engineering, where before this was a strict discipline that you needed to have a math background, you needed to have a degree. Now anybody can code. My son could sit there and write a piece of code right now and learn from it. And I think that is fantastic. Anybody, anywhere in a company can actually now learn code and build something from it and feel productive and feel like they're engaging in this technological invention. Because everything around us is computers. Everything. Like from the toaster we have to the smartphones in our pocket, we have the collective intelligence of all of humanity like in our pockets. I think that's incredible. Also thinking about the fact that like this is the worst it's ever going to be. It is only ever going to get better from this. And it will get, there'll be fantastic tools for education. There'll be fantastic tools for teaching anybody about any topic about anything. It doesn't even have to be coding. It can be how to cook, how to fish, how to mine nuclear reactors. Like there's all sorts of ways that like we can teach you to do anything. And
Wow.
we have a very powerful tool. But I'm going to say that it is a tool. It is not replacing humans.
Now you mentioned a lot about teaching and teaching. How long before actual teachers go obsolete because an AI is way better at teaching individuals than?
It's a great question. I would pose with, since Photoshop existed, that was going to eliminate all artists, but it hasn't. We still have people that do analog art. We still have people that are generating music, even though we have computers that are doing this. And even musicians and artists now are creating using those tools, maybe better than what they would have been doing before, as tools to augment their creativity. And I never see a world where it's not actually going to replace the whole process. Even though it possibly can, I think there's a lot of enough limitations there where it can't replace the whole process. But that's why, like, going back to, it has a lot of knowledge, it does have a lot of wisdom. It can teach you develop, really. And I've used it myself for learning languages that I never even knew. I'm a front-end engineer. I knew nothing about DevOps. And at my job at one point, they were like, write me an Azure pipeline for this. I'm like, I don't know. Hey, like, write me a DevOps pipeline for like taking this to production. And it did. And then it was able to walk me through each one of the lines of code where it was actually doing this in the YAML file, and then I was able to trust it. Like, okay, I'm gonna upload this. Is this actually gonna like do anything into production? And it's like, nope, I'm gonna put sandbox, and it convinced me that it was okay. And that is a great custom teacher thing. And I think that's fun. And it can take the context of the things that you have learned and being able to help you become a better engineer out of that. Yeah. As long as you want to go down that path, and like you can take it as far as you want.
I would just to add to that, like how many of you remember operator switchboard people? Right, that was a real thing, right? Somebody physically unplugging and connecting you to another phone line. We don't see those anymore, right? Taxi dispatchers, right? If you want to ride, you use your phone, right? So there is a whole other swath of people gone. How about sysadmins? Right, DevOps has more or less taken that out where engineers can push to prod on their own with predefined scripts, right? For me, playing the Vibra hat for a moment, this is just that next evolutionary step, right? This is the next thing. We don't know what it looks like on the other side yet. I think we're still figuring that out. But we're gonna figure that out. And we have to figure it out because all of us old guys who have a lot of experience will retire. Will go to the sandy beaches and not want to be on code. Then how do the junior folks who don't understand nuances and architecture patterns or whatever tell the machine it's wrong at that point? Right? So for me, as a doomer now, that's the risk, right? In 10 years, 20 years, if you're not in the code nailing it and just slamming your head on it, how are you going to know what it just proposed is wrong? Use another agent, right? Like at some point it gets too meta. But the other big risk is, and I think you were nodding your head during this part, right? There is real cost implications. Never mind using AI, but I had a side project. Gave it photos. I wanted to read all my photos and then give me a digest of what's in them for eBay. I'm like automating my eBay process, and it did it. It worked phenomenally. I logged into my OpenAI account, and there was $10 from a half-hour test cycle. Because they decided to use O3 Deep Research, like instead of just GPT-5, because they didn't know about GPT-5. It was too new, right? So if I wasn't paying attention, that could have kept running, and I could have seen potentially $100 bills for over $100. Not, I wish I could see the dollars, but you know what I mean, right? Really expensive bill because I wasn't paying attention, and the machine made its own decision, right? So right now, there's still a lot for us to do. We need to be the parents. We need to be those dev leads for these agents. We need to make sure it's not screwing up. I hear the rhetorical question, well, if AI is editing the code and it breaks in prod, whose fault is it? It's the engineer who told the AI to do it. That's whose fault it is, right? AI is not 100% autonomous yet, where it is automatically doing stuff without human overview, right? Somebody had to approve the PR. And if you don't have PRs in your process now, get PRs in your process even for you humans, please. Like, you need to be doing code reviews. AI is just another one of those engineers who's probably better than most humans, but is stupider than most humans because of everything we had just talked about. Yeah, so one thing I've been wrestling with on this is I think software engineering is going to become more of a niche, right? Where the deep engineers, the nerds, right? The geeks who love understanding it down to the metal will always have a job because someone has to program the LLM, right? Someone has to innovate, right? We have OAuth 2 right now. What does OAuth 5 look like? Machine's not going to generate that. Machine's not creative. It has no wisdom. It has no insights into the bigger picture, right? That's where I think human creativity is the spark that's going to change our future with AI. AI is just going to get rid of the noise so we can continue to grow and expand. But we're going to need folks who are hands-on, who understand engineering, who understand math, and all of that, not just for the sake of novelty, but to actually help further the human race, humankind, right? Yeah, so that's my doomer hat for a minute. Sorry. Yeah.
So this is not from a pure engineering standpoint. I think a lot of the value in maybe my case is different than a lot, but because I've been working for one institution for over 20 years, is a lot of my value is in the business knowledge and the business process knowledge and the knowledge of the data, and that's non-generic, that a generic coding engine doesn't have, and that may or may not be documented somewhere, may just be in my brain or in the brain of the people I'm talking to. So most times when I copy and paste something from Stack Overflow, I have to tweak it and modify it so that it works in our environment. I mean, one extreme example, and I didn't develop this database, but there's a table which has an is enabled flag, and 0 means yes, and 1 means no, right? So now, I didn't design it, I didn't code it that way, but
It's
that's the way it is, and I know that,
fantastic.
and a generic model would.
No, it was.
Can you just rename it to is disabled?
Yes, exactly.
Or have AI fix it. Just tell it it's wrong and let it fix it, right?
But that's where I think
Yeah.
the knowledge, you're not a software engineer as much as you are a business systems engineer.
Exactly.
Business
Yep.
process engineer or data engineer.
And that's a good point, right? I think the human parts of us are going to kind of come through, but we're also assuming that in 20 years, there's code, right? We have code because humans have to read it.
Yeah.
Not AI. I can see them inventing, and now we got quantum, right? So we got qubits. So at one point, do we need an if statement? I mean, it's going to do.
Yeah.
We might not even have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't predict the future. We can guess, but
We can argue to your point, and maybe your point, where like we have compilers and we have all these tools, and I worry now that even compilers are forgotten like lore of computer science, where I had to take a class on how to build a compiler and token parsers and stuff. People don't have to do that anymore because we've kind of solved a lot of those problems, and we're now in like kind of those areas where like I know how a car works, and I can just implicitly trust that like car is like car, and I can trust. We can do the same thing with compilers. Like, I can trust that GCC hasn't changed in probably 30 years, and like I can trust that I'm going to give it some code and it's going to give me some code. And I don't understand everything that went into that process. I could. It is documented somewhere. It's pretty good energy, but it's also like there's a level of abstraction that I don't think that like we're even like educating people anymore, or people aren't diving into those things. The same thing like chip design and how pipelines work on the processor, how like the differences between L1 and L2 cache. Like there's all these like abstract things that have been abstracted away because now we have higher order programming languages.
cool. So,
One quick question.
Yeah.
So already we have billions or trillions of parameters right now. So after 5 years, suppose you guys come together and wanted to give it a Moleka, how many people do you think will be in that room?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you think, okay, people will say, okay, you know.
Yeah, it's a given. Yeah.
I think there's always going to be a space for custom writing code. Like we have the tools now. We've had code generators now for years. We've had WYSIWYG website builders. I still love writing HTML by Scratch because that's just where my passion is. I love writing CSS because nobody understands CSS.
It's true.
But I love writing code. I love diving into the electron of like how things are being stacked, and that passion will never. I may find other ways to make code stuff, but I think there's always going to be a space like me being able to build code. I will stand by what I also just said, where like it also allows, AI allows anybody to enter the product. Anybody who thinks creatively about it means that anybody can come to the product. How deep they want to go down that discipline, it's up to them. But that's also what we have.
Cool. Awesome. Quick show of hands. Who's now more Viber? Who's in the Viber camp? Who's maybe leaning Viber? Maybe want to go home and code something in a week? Yeah, a week or this weekend. How many of you just sitting strong in the Doomer camp? You're like, screw it all. Yeah. All right. All right. More hands this time on both sides, which is good.
So I can change the party. So I lost my job last week. So who can get me the job?
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
That will be the, if
So
Fiverr can get me, I'll go with that.
we've touched upon this throughout the entire topic, right? But like, it is about the balance. It is not being extreme on either side, right? Again, I'm playing the extreme. He's playing the opposite extreme. Don't do that in real life. We're not there yet. It is about speed versus quality, right? If you need to bust something out fast, explore AI. See if you can get that done. Do it in a secure manner, right? Security is still never a question. Yes, security, yes. Like it has to be secure, period. Even like POCs. I can POC with prod data, but that POC has to be secure because it's my bloody prod data, right? Like, so security is always top of mind. It has to be, and that's the human piece, in my opinion. We have to keep it top of mind. Experiment with guardrails, right? Have fun, give it guardrails. Tell it, like if you're, please don't use AI to save someone's life, but if you wanted to pilot that, right? Do that, give it a fake human or whatever, one of those dummies, and let it beat on it or whatever, right? Like use guardrails, keep on safety. Don't let perfect become the enemy of the good. I've been using this phrase a lot lately. Perfect is amazing. It's not necessary, right? Apple isn't perfect, Google isn't perfect, no one is actually shipping perfect, but we all think we need to achieve perfect. So let that go, be good enough, make sure your users are more or less happy, 80% CSAT's probably in the right wheelhouse, right? Let AI help you get there. Want to add anything to all that?
No, I think you touched on all of it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is a balance. It is a great tool. It is a great education tool, and I think that is the way that I use it at agentic, to explore new things in a way that even finding things that aren't online, aren't in Stack Overflow. There's many times where I would find, I search Stack Overflow for very opaque things that if I can't answer it, probably doesn't exist yet. But AI would know an answer, and then I can take that and learn from it and explore. And
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you all so much. There you go. Feel free to reach out. I believe it is now lunchtime.